Hey folks, you know I take my trail camera intel pretty seriously. It's a huge part of how I build my hunting strategy, and I'm always looking for gear that just flat out works. Stuff I can rely on. Backed by solid people and the best customer support in the business. That's exactly why I run Tacticam Reveal cell cameras. Whether you're just getting started or you're a full-blown data junkie like me, they've got a camera to fit your budget and your hunting style. My go-to currently is the Reveal 3.0 series with fully integrated GPS. These things are dead simple to set up. Less fiddling, more scouting and hunting. And they run on most major service providers and will automatically connect you to the strongest signal in your area. So no more hiking to the top of a ridge just to realize you've got the wrong service provider. Been there, not fun. Here's the kicker. You don't even need an SD card. That means fewer trips in, less pressure on your spots, and more real-time intel sent straight to your phone. And if you pair it with a Reveal solar panel or a lithium cartridge, you can keep those cameras running longer and spend more time doing what actually matters. Scouting new ground, dialing in a setup, or maybe, just maybe, finally cleaning the garage like you told your wife you would before the season started. Don't just take my word for it. Check out Tacticam Reveal at tacticam.com. Tacticam. Everything you need to take your hunting to the next level. Stay more comfortable, more concealed, and in the stand longer with Oscio gear. Premium camouflage apparel created for bow hunters by bow hunters. Oscio's revolutionary patented camo patterns and innovative features are designed to keep whitetail bow hunters totally invisible and dead quiet. Elevate your game with Oscio. Visit asiogear.com and take 20% off your purchase with code TRUTH20. If you're like me, e-scouting isn't just part of the process, it is the process. And nobody's doing it better than Spartan Forge. This is a veteran-owned company that built the only science-based scouting platform on real GPS collar data and artificial intelligence to predict deer movement. But where it really shines is with their imagery. Spartan Forge now has a high-res UAV coverage for 80% of the whitetail states, down to 5-centimeter detail. That means you can see trails, old logging roads, cuts, even subtle vegetation changes that most apps completely miss. And if you really want to get nerdy, their LiDAR layer breaks right through the canopy so you can see the forest floor. Gives you some visibility to those hidden draws, ditches that big bucks absolutely love to live in. Add in historical wind data and a desktop-only features like Eagle Eye and Cyber Scout, and you've got the most advanced hunting app out there. Start your risk-free 14-day trial today at spartanforge.ai. Welcome to the Truth from Stand Deer Hunting Podcast, brought to you by Tacticam Reveal Cellular Cameras. I'm your host, Clint Campbell, and you're listening to episode number 461. Today, I'm joined by my buddy Justin Tabor to talk about the love-hate relationship he has with hill country and why relationships can make all the difference. So stay tuned. All right. What is up, everyone? Happy Wednesday to you. Hope you're doing well. Hope you are feeling fine. October is finally here. Everything is open. My home state of PA has opened up statewide. As has been the case the past couple episodes here, I've kept the upfront very short, so I'm just trying to get stuff wrapped up and spend as much time as I can in the woods. And I think to this point, I've had 5 hunts. I've seen deer pretty much on every sit. Have yet to get one in stick bow range. That's been kind of the tricky part here. I saw a couple last night. I should have made a move when I saw there was a buck that kind of worked its way into this corner, and I thought it was an area I hadn't hunted before. And when I walked in, I was like, man, I bet the deer are going to probably use this corner over here. And I set up a little further off it because there was some sign that I was kind of setting up near. There were some feed trees and stuff. And I think I was maybe in the tree like 35 minutes for an evening hunt, and watched a small buck use that corner, and was thinking to myself, I was like, man, I should just get down right now and just walk and just go over there. It was probably like 35 yards, and there was a big down tree. I was like, I could just set up behind that down tree and just wait for other deer to pile out, because I'm not they were going to necessarily pile out, but I was like, if anything else comes through here, it's probably going to take the same route. And I convinced myself, I was like, man, I don't know. What are the chances? Because it was kind of a messed up hunt. I kind of got in late. I was trying to get out after work and got in later than I wanted to. And so I didn't really get to where I wanted to hunt. I just kind of found a spot that was kind of on the way where I was like, yeah, this looks pretty good. There's some sign here. There's feed tree, et cetera, et cetera. So that's just kind of where I set up. And I kind of convinced myself that probably not going to see any more deer tonight. Like, I saw one young buck kind of make its way through, and then sure enough, like 40 minutes later, 2 more deer kind of walked through there. And if I would have just made the move, I probably have my first traditional bow kill, to be honest with you, if I would have just listened to myself and made the move. We talk a lot on this show, of course, about trusting your gut and things like that. And for whatever reason, for me, it's hard to do during the early part of the season. But as the season kind of goes on, maybe it's because I just get tired and I get tired of second guessing and I just kind of go with whatever I see or whatever I feel. So hopefully we get there sooner rather than later. But with that, we're just going to go ahead and jump into today's show. Have my buddy Justin Tabor on. Super cool dude, killer hunter. Actually met him online, like a lot of my hunting buddies now that I meet. I typically meet them. Relationships start online, but he had a great hunt in the early part of the season already. Killed a great deer, and we talk a little bit about that and kind of how that hunt came about. And that's where, if you heard the intro when I said relationships matter. A lot of what he's been able to do, at least in that particular hunt, the success that he had, was really related to creating relationships with landowners and getting access. And he gets access at a higher clip than most people that I've met. And we talk a little bit about how he does that. And then we also talk about his love-hate relationship with with hill country. And spoiler alert, he loves it. But as with many things, when you kind of jump into it at first, he comes from an area where he's not really working with hills and terrain like that. So it was kind of a learning curve for him. He's adapted well. We'll talk a little bit about that. But usually those things that you hate at first or that are really challenging are the things that kind of help you grow the most, and you end up kind of loving those things. And that's exactly kind of what happened to Justin. So with that, we'll just go ahead and jump into today's show. As always, thank you all for listening. All right, folks, welcome back to another episode of the Truth from the Stand Deer Hunting Podcast. And today I have on a fella, Mr. Justin Tabor. Did I say your last name right? I usually ask, but I've totally forgot to.
Yeah, you did. Yeah. Most people do get it wrong, but you got it right. So props to you.
Nice. What do you get? Tabor?
I've had Tabor many a times. I used to have my 10th grade teacher used to call me Justin Table. Don't understand that one at all, but yeah, Tabor. I've been called Tabo. I guess Tim Tebow, Tabo.
Right.
I'm not sure. I just take it, take the
That's
abuse.
Funny. Right. There was a guy that I knew. I don't know if I think I told this story on the podcast. Probably have, because I've been doing this thing for so long at this point. There was a guy at one point, I was working at a friend of mine's bar in Florida, and he called me Cliff. And like the first time he called me Cliff, I corrected him. I was like, no, it's Clint. It was like the first time we met. And then he came back in, I saw him again, and he's like, hey, Cliff, we'll see you later. And I was like, hey man, it's Clint, but yeah, I'll see you. Take it easy,
Yeah.
Comes in again and he just started calling me Cliff. I just stopped. He was a good tipper. We'll put it that way. So I was like, I'm not going to bust the guy's chops. He can call me whatever. For sure. I don't really care. And then one day, this is going on for like probably 3 years or something like that. And there was a buddy of mine that was hanging out, and the guy's leaving. He's like, hey Cliff, I'll see you later. And he looks at me, he's like, he just called you Cliff? And I'm like, yeah. I was like, he's like, does he know your name's Clint? I was like, no, he's been calling me Cliff for like 3 years.
Yeah.
And then the guy comes back and he said something. My buddy's like, hey, you know his name's Clint, right? And the guy's like, no. He's like, I've been calling you Cliff all these years. I was like, yeah, man, it's cool. I was like, I corrected you like 2 or 3 times. Like, I just figured like you weren't getting it. So we'll just go with Cliff. It's fine.
He was probably half drunk anyway. Like you said, he tips good. So who cares, right?
Right. Yeah, exactly. And I've been called worse, so we'll take it.
I have too.
Nice, man. How are things, buddy? How are things in your neck of the woods? All good?
Yeah, man, it's good. The weather's finally starting to get reasonable down here, and been really busy the past 2 weeks of work. So that was nice. That's why I said 5:30 probably would work a little better for me, because sometimes it's cool, calm, and collected, and other times I can't keep up. I run my own business and stuff, so it's nice to just be able to settle down in the evenings and just take it easy. So knock on wood, so far we're good. The phone's not ringing. So
there you go. Sweet, man. So where are you from, and what do you do for a living?
So currently I own my own business. I run a small transportation company. Trucking business, and I have since 2022 in Columbia, South Carolina, and got a couple good guys that work for me, man. They're the backbone. I'm just, I guess you say, the brains of the operation at this point, and kind of gotten to a point to where I'm potentially home more sometimes than I am on the road, which is good because I've got a family. I'm married. I've got 2 girls. And also I like to deer hunt just like you. So it works out pretty good to where I can go across state lines and do my deer hunting thing and kind of just be a phone, or an email. So,
right.
But yes, it's been good, man.
Nice. Yeah, I'm familiar with that. I was actually just, our season kicked off here
as you and I are recording this, just like a week ago, or like this past weekend, and or at least for my part of the state,
Mm-hmm.
and I've already started kind of looking because I'm taking a trip to the Midwest and started kind of mapping out like when I'm going to go because I work remotely, so I just have to be available for calls and stuff like that, and I'm planning to try to like spend like a month in the Midwest this year. And so I'm mapping out like, okay, when am I going to leave? And so it's looking like now tentatively I took the dog for a walk this morning before work, and my wife was off today. So we walked together, and I was like, hey, when I'm leaving and stuff, right? She's like, yeah, I think so. Like, this is how cool my wife is. And she's like, yeah, you're going to be gone like a month. And I was like, yeah. She's like, all right, yeah, that's fine. So, so I'm leaving like the 26th, I think, of October roughly. And I'll come home around the 26th or 27th of November, I think.
That's incredible, honestly, man. I wish, I don't know if I honestly would want to, because I get out there for 3, 4, 5 days at a time, and I'm like, I'm ready to come home, and I'll call the wife or call the kids, and the wife would be like, you're there. She's like, just tough it out, make it happen. She's like, if you come home, you're going to be disappointed in yourself. So, I mean, it sounds like our wives are very similar, and they know this is just, this is a passion for us. And I think that's like one of the key components to killing big deer is you got to have a cool wife, man. That's like number one. If you're married, you got to have a cool wife.
Yeah.
Kill big bucks.
100%, man, because I always joke with buddies of mine, and I've talked to like my buddy Tony Peterson about this ad nauseum, and I always say I'm a better hunter on the road than I am at home, because when I'm at home, I always feel like, I want to be around my girls, especially my daughter, she's a senior, she's going to be going off to college soon. So I'm trying to get as much time with her as I can, because I got limited time left, with her being around the house and stuff. And there's just that constant tug of like, you could be doing like these 7 things, because I'm just, 30 minutes away on a piece of public somewhere, or 45 minutes away, or something I can get home that's drivable in the evening or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. But whenever I'm out and I'm away, it's just, there's no chance of going home. There's phone calls or FaceTime in the evening and stuff like that, but it's just, I'm in it. And I just feel like I'm so much more locked in. And the hard part is trying to get myself to act like that when I'm at home. Yeah. Right. That's the challenge.
I think we're all more conservative at home. And then, my kids are 8 and 12, and they do competitive cheer and gymnastics. And so, I hunt. Everything I hunt here locally is all permission pieces. And I've got a piece 5 minutes from my house. So I could literally ride my e-bike too. And all it takes is, the wife, hey, can you pick up such and such from practice? Or, hey, it's just, there's always something to do. The yard needs to be cut, trash needs taken off. You always have something to do. So yes, going 8 and 10 hours away, typically is about how far I'm going to hunt. And, all I have to do is kill, just go with the kill mentality and try my best. So
yeah, cause that's all you're there to do.
It's it really just like is. One objective,
Yeah. And I was talking to Tony about this whenever he had me on his show a couple weeks ago, whatever it was. And, what I've kind of found, like we've always kind of talked about the idea that going on the road and hunting makes you a better hunter, because you usually encounter different stuff. You encounter different terrain, different habitat, more or less pressure depending on where you're going and stuff like that. But to me, I was like, the one thing it always does is it forces me to kind of go to my B and C game, because usually when you get there, if you're on just say you're on like a 10-day hunt, for example, like your first 2 or 3 days, you're going to throw like what you presume to be your best stuff at it, right? I'm going to try these things because I know I'm really good at whatever it is. I'm really good at hunting marshes or near water, so I'm going to hunt near water. And then my second thing is like, I really like to hunt this setup, so I'm going to find this setup, right? Or whatever the case is. By like the 3rd or 4th day, you've tried all your best stuff and none of it's worked.
Yeah, so they're itching your head like, all right, what's next? Yeah.
Right. And so now you just start going like, well, I heard this guy talking about this thing one time, and he lived in an area that was kind of like this. Let me try that, and like you start to just kind of expand, and it forces you to kind of play around a little bit, which I think ultimately is super helpful, because then you start learning new stuff, you bring it back home, you refine it. And so then all of a sudden that's kind of how you become a better hunter. It's not just being there. It's because you're trying stuff that are kind of outside your comfort zone.
And I think it builds confidence too. I think when you do it and you trust your gut, I think it helps you to build confidence. And that's something I've had to work toward over the past few years, is just like, just taking that shot and just saying, what can I lose, and then from there you might learn something. I think you can always take something from a hunt. So I think it's not a terrible thing, if A, B, and C don't work, go to D and E.
Well, I think it almost is better, because you start to reduce your expectations, right? Like if you think about sports, for example, you know, I'm terrible at golf, but pretend I'm good at golf for a second. If you know someone's a good golfer, right? Or my father-in-law is a really good golfer. He was a golf coach and stuff. What they'll tell you is that the more you press and the more you try, or say a hitter that's in a slump, the more they're trying, almost the worse it gets, right? You almost have to have this ability to separate from it and kind of almost be outside of the situation, and then all of a sudden you kind of find your flow or your groove again to a degree. And I feel like that travel hunting is kind of the same way. When you kind of go to your B and C, you kind of give yourself license to make mistakes that you don't give yourself license whenever you're doing the stuff that you keep telling yourself you're really good at. So now your mistakes aren't fails, or they're not necessarily things that are killing your hunt. They're just things that are happening. Right.
I find that with archery sometimes too, actually. So, you know, go out in the evenings to go shoot, and, you know, you shoot your first 3, 4, 5, half dozen arrows. And if it's just not happening, it's not happening. I've learned to not force it, not get pissed off, and just go hang the bow up, you know, shoot the first few shots. If you're pulling on a target pin it's setting in, I might go shoot close range, shoot dots. But outside of that, if it's just not happening, it's just not happening. I'll just go hang the bow up and say, we'll shoot tomorrow. We're not going to get pissed off and get pissy and start Allen wrenching, you know, turning this, turning that, and just the bow's on. It's the shooter. Hang it up. We'll shoot to see another day. So
dude, that is just like some sage wisdom, right? Because I'm the same way, where I used to try to force it, where I'm like, I'm going to shoot more arrows and I'm not going to stop until I get the group that I want.
Yeah.
Right. And inevitably it would get worse.
It does.
What kind of cured me of it was shooting this stick bow now, where, you know, I joke with a buddy of mine, and because we both like he used a stick bow last year. He's shot stick bow in the past, but I think last year was the first year that he hunted like full time with it. And so we'll text each other like, hey, how you doing? How you been shooting lately or whatever? And he'll say he's shooting well, and I'll be like, man, some days I go out and I can't miss. Like some days I go out and I couldn't miss if I tried. It feels like. I was like, and other days I go out and I'm shooting like a methed out ferret. I was like, it just, where I'm like, it's like you would think I never picked one up before. Right. And those days I just set it down. I'm like, hey, today isn't my day. You know, I'm just going to walk away.
Let me ask you a question. Do you think, because you work out and do, you know, you roll around and do what you do you feel like maybe you kind of get a little stoved up? So I know me personally, what I do is when it comes to this time of the year, like I still continue to work out, but like I will lay out the heavy weights. Like, let's say if I'm going to do hundreds on dumbbell presses, like I might dial it back to the 70s. And I'm actually careful with what I'm doing. I'm not in there working out like a, you know, raged lunatic. I'm being conservative in what I'm doing, because like the worst thing I could do is tear a shoulder, you know, in the middle of archery season. So I feel like maybe during the summer, my shooting isn't the best, but as we get closer into the season, I feel like I loosen up and I'm not as tight, and, you know, the shots are just a little more fluid. So I don't know. Do you feel the same way? Do you ever let up, or?
I don't usually. And it's funny. I have the same, so I'll scale back some of the jujitsu.
Sure.
And it's more so because I'll tap earlier to certain things because I don't want to tear up a shoulder or whatever. Lifting, I kind of go the same route, but it's weird where this is going to sound counterintuitive to a lot of people listening probably, but the more sore or kind of stoved up I am, the better I shoot.
Really?
For whatever reason, because I think it's already like my muscles already feel kind of tense. And so when I'm drawing, it doesn't really feel like, I don't really notice the weight. But whenever I have like, so for example, I was shooting right before you and I jumped on. And it was just quick because it was supposed to get ready to rain, but it hasn't rained yet. But I went out and just like shot like 4 arrows at different distances and shot well. But I didn't feel great, but I didn't lift yesterday because Sunday I trained for 2 hours and I rolled like 5 or 6 rounds. And then I came home, went and showered or whatever, left, put my pack on with some trail cameras, swapped out or updated 2 trail cameras and solar panel sets, and then got to my setup or to a place I wanted to be, and then hunted for the evening and then hiked back out. And so I was torched. Like my legs were torched and just had no gas left. So yesterday, usually I lift, but I didn't. Like I just took the day off. So my body was like, yeah, you ain't got the gas tank today to go hard again.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I'll shoot my bow. Shot lights out, all sore, stoved up. And it's just, I don't know if there's like, my body has a natural amount of tension to it. And so it feels better. It sounds so counterintuitive, but like that's how it works.
I'm almost wondering though, because what you're doing is a lot of back tension, right? So I'm almost wondering maybe if you're getting a little bit more mind muscle connection, and pulling through the shot like you should, which I've never shot a stick bow, but I'm just assuming maybe there's something to that.
There might be, because it's definitely, I would say with the stick, I'm way more conscious and can feel where I'm supposed to, and this sounds really weird maybe, and I kind of picked this up from Jared Scheffler, a while ago when I first started picking it up, where what he was kind of explaining to me, especially the way he shoots, and I don't shoot the way he shoots, but he was like, you get to a certain point, if after you've been shooting for a little bit, some people are quicker to it than others if you're really good at kind of recognizing what your body's doing. And I've always kind of been into like working out and stuff like that. So I try to be cognizant of my body and how things feel. And so I can start to feel like when my shoulder's in the right spot.
Sure.
Right. And I feel like almost like a little bit of that like soreness and tension I have helps me feel where things are supposed to be, because there's more, I don't want to say there's pain, but there's definitely like stretching, or I don't want to say discomfort either, but there's like a noticeable feeling whenever I get to a certain spot.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that helps me kind of feel, and it's like, oh, there it is. There's my shoulder's in the right spot.
I can see that. I completely can see that. Yeah.
But yeah, it's counterintuitive. But how do you fit like the workout stuff in? Because that's the biggest challenge for me, right? It's like hunting season's in right now.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to hunt as much as I can. Well, not hunt as much as I can right yet, because we're early here for me. But I want to be out as often as I can be. And I don't like to give up on my lifts, and I don't like to give up on my jiu-jitsu. And so it's like I'm constantly battling, like, how do I fit it all in,
For me, I mean, I do taper back this time of the year, in my mind, if I can get, which it's still early for me. And obviously I'm tagged out in Kentucky, so that helps. So now I've got like this little window. Here at home, I'm not gonna lie, I probably should do better in this, but I don't get too excited to hunt here at home. I mean, where I live, man, the season starts August 15th, and you can shoot a high-powered rifle where I live. Okay. So it's kind of crazy here. I just don't put in near the effort here. When I am home, I do try to get 3 to 4 lifts in a week, but I think what I do is I taper back the weight more than anything, or the volume, whereas usually I might go and hit it for a solid hour of consistent working out. Now, if I can get anywhere from 40 to 45 minutes in with less volume, less weight, I don't know, I stay consistent with it all year long. The only time I don't is when I like truly go on the out of state travel trips. And to me, that's a little break. That, if I go for 7 days, that's just a break. I'm giving my joints, my ligaments, my muscles, my mind, my central nervous system, everything's just getting a break. And that's good. And I feel like, honestly, that's probably what's prevented me from getting hurt, because during the season, my lifting season, I guess you could say, I do lift heavy at times, and knock on wood, I haven't been hurt other than one hernia, but that was many moons ago. We won't talk about that.
Right. So nice. Yeah. It's, I try to still fit it all into, and usually my breaks are when I leave, whenever I go on a travel hunt somewhere. Now, the last time I went out to the Midwest, I killed early, and I ended up heading to Iowa and visited a buddy of mine. And I actually I trained while I was in Iowa. Like I went and bought some gear while I was there. Went and bought some like clothes to go train, and just like spent a couple of days at his gym. So yeah, I mean, where there's a will, there's a way. You just have to kind of restructure, so I changed my lifting days. That way, the days that I have time to hunt, which are usually Saturday and Sunday now, right? Sometimes I get out in the middle of the week, but now I changed my lifting days. Were usually always, one of them was definitely always on Saturday. And so now I've kind of tried to move that day to the middle of the week, and the brutal ones are when I double up, where I'll lift before jujitsu and then go right into jujitsu. Like, so I'll lift for like an hour and then do like 2 hours of jujitsu right after. Yeah. Those are rough days.
I can imagine. It's just discipline. End of the day, man, it just boils down to discipline. You're either disciplined or you're not disciplined. And, you can take that into the deer woods with you. You can take it into 100%. Every aspect of life, man. It's just such an important thing. And for me, it's almost like a good habit that I've acquired. Initially I want to be bigger, be stronger, be more attractive for the ladies, so on and so forth. And now it's just a healthy habit. And now it's just a part of my life to where it's like, I'm going to go work out. If there's an hour and a half I can take off to the gym, I'm going. And, and my wife supports it. My kids support it. It's just, Well, it's back to discipline, man.
Yeah. How does that discipline in the gym like that? How does that translate, or does it translate to discipline in the deer woods?
Well, it does. I mean, so it's just a mindset, really. For me, it's like, we were talking about a little bit of the hill country stuff earlier. It's like I could have, technically, I've only actually killed one buck in the state of Ohio, and I want to say this is going to be my 5th season.
Mm-hmm.
But that's only because of being disciplined. I could have killed numerous deer. I've got videos on my phone of deer that I kind of regret to this day a little bit passing, that I had no business passing because I just hadn't killed deer like that before. Oh, there's a phone call. I have to forward him. Anyway, he's unimportant. So yeah, it's back to the discipline. It's like I could have filled quite a few tags, but I kind of knew what I was looking for. I know what I wanted to kill. I wanted to kill a mature buck. I wanted to just kill something I was like truly proud of versus settling. And it's the same thing when it comes to working out, man. It's like you just, you know what you want and you go after it. And that's kind of where I was with it. And so that's just really a mindset thing, honestly. Now, I'm not going to say there's one I would like to have back. When I went back and rewatched the video, I'm like, fuck, man. Like, I don't even have nothing like that on the wall. Like, why would I, but I was hunting ghosts, man. I was hunting deer that didn't even exist. I'm just like, I'm in Ohio. There's a booner behind every tree. And it's like, it's not the case at all.
Right.
So it's one of them rookie mistakes. You look back on it, you laugh a little bit, but you just move forward. So.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, when you mention, knowing what you want, and kind of being committed to that, I think that's not exactly how you said it, but that's kind of, what you were referring to. Like so many people will cheat themselves whenever when they say like, this is what I want to do. Right.
Sure.
And then the first sign of challenge or obstacle or whatever the case is, like, to me, that's what, like, whether it's lifting in the gym or jiu-jitsu or whatever it is that you use on a consistent basis to create your willingness and ability or your discipline to overcome things that are in front of you, right? That's how the translation works, right? Because you just get used to when things are in front of you going like, yeah, I'm just going to get over this, like whatever it happens to be, right? And because a couple years ago when I was in the Midwest, killed a good buck, and, I had passed a couple. Well, I won't say I passed. Well, there was one that I passed that I probably shouldn't have, but I knew I was taking the hardest route. I was trying to do it on the ground, like in the wide open, in a ghillie jacket. Like, I did not want to be in a tree.
Yeah.
That was not the experience I wanted. Now, after the first trip was like a 2-week trip, after the first 7 days of not getting it done, it would have been real easy. Like, the thought crossed my mind of, hey man, you should just climb in a tree in a pinch and sit there for the next 7 days. Like, you'll probably see a good buck.
Sure.
Like, it may not be a giant, and I wasn't after a giant, but I was just after the experience, and I was stubborn, and it took me to the 3rd season to do it.
Yeah.
Right. But when I did it, man, it paid off.
Yeah. And how much better is the reward?
Oh.
I mean, think about it. Like, I got a little story, like, me and my buddy Cole, pal, he lives here in South Carolina too. He's my hunting partner. And, long story short, we branched out. We used to hunt with a guy. He had a bunch of farms, subleased to a farmer. Long story short, we would kind of pay him to like sort of have our own farms back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
And, some things kind of went a little south, and no bad blood at all, just direction changed, and we decided to do our own thing. So we completely just said, screw this. We're going to branch out on our own, and we're going to figure out how to get our own properties. We don't need a handout. And that's what we did. Well, we landed a farm, Western Kentucky. And that was the first farm that I ever can truly say, outside of owning it, like, it was mine. It was my lease. I picked it up. I built the relationship, so much to the point to where we literally would stay in the additional house on the property. They would send our kids gifts. We'd get banana bread baked for us. I mean, just truly build a relationship, man.
Right.
And I killed a buck, and it's definitely not my biggest buck by any means, but there was like a 2 or a 3 year stint to where we just like, we were chasing our tails trying to find deer to hunt, property to hunt, and to kill that deer, man. Like, there was everything. Like, I got choked up pretty significantly in front of 3 other grown men, and just like, couldn't control it, man, but it meant something to me, and that's what it's about. It's really about the experience and the moment and the people you do it with. And it's important. It really is. It really shapes you. And
It does.
that's and that's not the biggest tear out of my wall either by any
Right.
means. It's just, it meant something, it's the work that went into it. And I freaking love the work, man. We love the work. We love the process. So
Yeah. Yeah. You got to, man. Like that's where the good stuff is. It's all the stuff that kind of leads up to the filling of the tag. Like I wouldn't trade, those 3 years or those 2 prior seasons that it took me to fulfill that experience. I wouldn't trade it. If someone told me you could go back and do it again, but you could kill on the first trip, I don't think I would want it.
think about what you learned,
Oh man, yeah,
It's
it made me such a better hunter, especially in that type of country. Like I feel not an expert by any means, but I feel pretty confident being able to hunt that type of terrain now.
Sure.
Like it doesn't intimidate me. And now it's actually one of those things where I seek out, like that's my preferred way to hunt, right?
Yeah.
I'd rather do it that way than almost any other way at this point. Even though it's harder, it's still harder for me, so much so it's like, going to try to use the stick bow this year and do it, which is just, I'm like, man, if I can get close enough on the ground to a good buck with that thing, I'm like, dude, that's just, I might retire,
have to hang it up. Yeah. I got a deer that I'm chasing this year. And, if I ended up putting an arrow in him and putting my hands on him, that's kind of where I'm at too. I'm going to be sitting there itching my head. Like, what do I do? Do I just give all my stuff away at this point? Cause like, this is like the upper echelon of life right here. So we won't talk about it too much, but if it happens, you're going to see me cry and laugh and snot and piss myself and everything. It's going to be insane. So just
nice. But to that point though, right, it was what we're kind of talking about. It's like you have that, if you achieve a major goal, the only way that it kind of becomes, better to a degree, if that's a way to say it, is that you just kind of jump back into the process again and start all over. Like that's the appeal is the start over. That's one of the things that I've noticed about people who are really good at anything, that they don't spend a whole lot of time in the success. They spend a whole lot of time in the lead up. And that's the part that gets them excited, right? They celebrate the success. Like you just think about guys that, people that anybody who's listening would know the names, like Tom Brady, or Jordan or whomever, right? Those guys, they would allow themselves like a moment to celebrate what they achieved, but it was always on to the next thing.
Yeah.
Because they were seeking, mastery of something that they knew they could never master. Like you couldn't, because there's so many variables every season in terms of football for Brady. So every season there were variables that were different than every other season. So it wasn't like it was stamp and repeat. Nope. He had to start all over again with everybody else.
Sure.
Right. And it's the same thing with bow hunting, right? You kill a giant, achieve your dream or your goal. Well, next year is going to be different than this year. All the circumstances are going to be slightly different. It's not the same. So you got to start all over with everybody else.
Yeah. And see, on the flip side of that, I've caught myself, and I've tried to do better, this year specifically, but I've caught myself killing and not soaking in the moment. I was being robotic in a way and just being like, okay, task accomplished, move to the next state, kill, versus I think when it really come to fruition for me was when I killed in Ohio last year. It was just me and him up on the hill. I was hunting the top of the hill where I'm at. It was roughly about 1,000-foot elevation, killed him around 900 foot and, shot him. Felt like I made a real good shot. Didn't even know it, but I actually watched him crash, but I didn't know it because the way the hills roll.
Mm-hmm.
And he went off the edge of the logging road, and that's where he crashed right there. But, just walking up on him, man, was like, this is the moment. It's just you and the animal. And it was awesome, man. You could I was up on this, I guess it was the top side of a drain and, kind of like a little hump. And I could see down in the bottom, and you could see the grain fields for I'm going to say a mile probably. Mm-hmm. And it was just majestic, man. I just sat there and I just put my arm across the animal. And it's like the first time I could truly say that I wasn't robotic. And I'm just like, I've got to soak every moment of this in. And, but it wasn't long. And I was right back, all right, let's get into the taxidermist. Let's take some photos, and we got to go to Illinois. But I did for the first time, just take it in and soak it in. This is the memories you're going to remember this for the rest of your life. So take advantage of it, give this animal the respect. And it was cool, man. There was something to it. So
nice. What do you think made you pause for that one?
Well, it was my biggest for one. Um, my oldest. Something about the scenery, man. Something to do with being up in the hills. And I remember the wind was blowing, the leaves were falling, and it was just such a pretty scenery. I could look, way off in the distance to see the grain bottoms, and just everything was so picture perfect in that moment. And then not to mention, I mean, like I tell you, I feel like I've had my ass kicked in Ohio, and I granted, like I said, I could have killed deer, but if I don't feel a tag, I got my ass kicked the way I look at it. If I don't harvest the animal I'm looking to harvest, well, I kind of got my ass kicked. And I think it was like this big burden off my back. Like, you finally got it done in Ohio, it's like you finally accomplished your goal that you set out to accomplish and killed that caliber of animal you wanted to kill. So it was almost like this big relief, but everything was just perfect, man. It was just absolutely perfect.
Nice. What time of day did you kill that deer?
I killed him earlier. I want to say it was, which the time had changed. So I think it was November 9th. I want to say, man, you got me wanting to go back and look at some photos right now, because I had a buck come down the hill right before him, came in and hit a scrape. And then it wasn't 30 minutes after. I want to say it was like during the 4:00 hour, actually.
Okay.
He moved early. It was like late 4:00, getting into 5:00. But I mean, there was still 45 minutes to an hour of daylight left when he moved.
Right. I sometimes feel like the reason why I asked that was because I sometimes feel like the time of day, I think there's a lot that goes into, at least for, I'll say it this way. For me, the ability to kind of slow down and kind of take in the moment is very dependent on the circumstance of like the kill, right? So what time of day did I kill him, right? Is it late and I'm going to have to track at night?
True.
Was it a good hit, right? Am I concerned about finding him? Is it hot out and I need to get him taken care of? Like all those things for me, because I'm thinking back, to a couple of the last few bucks that I shot, and the one that I probably enjoyed the most was the last one I killed in PA, because it was kind of the way I wanted to do it. Like I wanted to kayak into this spot, and I wanted to kill a deer in this area for a long time because I wanted to kayak a buck out of it. Right.
Yeah, that's cool.
And finally did it. I got beaten there 3 different years in a row. Right. Just shot opportunities, but just screwed it up somehow each time. And I remember when I shot that, the deer that I killed, I always typically, for whatever reason, shoot my deer late. That's typically when I kill them. And this one I shot at 7:30 in the morning. Like it was just past gray light. He comes out, works a scrape, and I shoot him at like 10 yards. And it was like a no doubter, like pinwheeled him. He runs 40 yards. I heard him crash, like done deals. There was no like anxiety around where did he go? Was it a good shot? Like it was just, in the spot that I wanted to do it. And it was early enough and it was cool enough. And it was early enough in the day where I remember I got to the deer, like I got down, found my arrow and found him. And I remember just sitting down going, man, I found him. And it's like, cause I sat in the tree for a little bit, just like make sure he was done or whatever. I found him at like 8:15. I think I was like at him, and I was like, I got all day to do this. I don't have to rush on the drag out. I don't have to rush it. Like, so I took my sweet ass time getting them out, just enjoyed it, enjoyed the kayak ride, came home, strung them up, had a cigar, drank a beer,
just soaked it all in,
Yeah. Just enjoyed the whole day, man. Like my daughter came home, she helped me skin him a little bit and stuff. And it was just, and that was, again, not my biggest deer, but probably one of my favorite memories was that, because of just like, I was able to spend the day just enjoying it.
That, and you said you also got your butt kicked for 3 years in there?
Yeah.
So if you're anything like me, I don't take well to losing.
Yeah.
So, and I've been losing for a long time, and I know I'll continue to lose, but every now and again I'll get lucky. But
it's nice to win sometimes.
Something about getting your ass kicked a little bit, man, just makes it so much more worthwhile. So no, I get it. Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah, because the one in the Midwest was by far the biggest deer I've ever killed, and that was fun. But like, it was a whole shit show at the end of that, where it was like he jumped up whenever I found him. It was like it was just ridiculous, and it was warm, and like all the things, right? And so it wasn't until the next morning that I actually sat on the tailgate of the truck and really just kind of like took it all in. Was like, not gonna lie, it was like getting up early during that time, right? Because we're out hunting, getting up like 3:30, alarm calls that time of year. And I got up, didn't set an alarm, and got up at like 6:30, and I went out to the truck and sat on the tailgate with the deer and cracked a beer and had a beer at like 6:45.
Yeah, you deserved it.
Yeah, I was
You
like,
deserve that. Yeah.
yeah, I was like, I'm having this beer. I was like,
Yeah. No,
but
totally.
so when you think about Ohio, because I know you made a post a while ago, and we talked about it a little bit before we started recording. You said, you had written that you have a love-hate relationship with hill country. So what is that love-hate relationship? I know you're from the South, right? So you're from the Carolinas, right? What is that love-hate relationship?
We just have, so I hunt kind of South Central Ohio. And then as of the past 2 years, I've started hunting a little bit north of Columbus. North of Columbus is farm country. And then, the South Central, it's big hill country. And, we just don't, we don't have topography like that here. The first year I ever hunted it, I just didn't know what I was doing. I listened to guys like you and the podcast and, the guys in the industry who've done it, and I can, take it in and then try to apply it in the field. But it's just the topography, man, the rising and the falling of the thermals and, everything in between. It's just like, it's so different because we don't have stuff like that here until you get like way up in the upstate. But even then it's a very small scale. Right. And, I really think that statement was more so the fact that I was looking for a caliber of deer. Now I gotta think back, and I think the first year I hunted in Ohio, believe it or not, I actually got on deer really quick. Don't ask me how, because I was just taking random educated guesses. I was getting on them. I was getting on them in the hill country and then down at the bottom and on the creek systems as well. Took a lot of videos, but that's when I was hunting ghost. That's when I was hunting. I think I've said it in another podcast before, but a buddy of mine had shot a giant, like 2,000 yards to the woods. I'm talking like a 190 class deer. And so I'm going to Ohio with the intentions of like, I'm boon or bust, and it's like living through social media and seeing people post these giant deer, and was hunting deer that I didn't even have on camera, didn't even know exist. So I'm letting good deer walk, man. I'm letting deer in the upper 30s and low 40s walk. And, I think that's truly what I meant, because I did get on deer. I did video a lot of deer, but my buddy Cole picks on me because he's like, well, damn, you ought to just hang your bow up and just become a videographer, because that's all you do is just video deer. He gets on me all the time. He's actually pushed me to do a little more killing, and it's a good thing because now my wall's starting to fill out a little bit. But I think that's what that meant. It's just the opportunities that I had in the past, I let them go. And then after that, I started chasing my tail a little bit. And then it's been a struggle and a process. But now, this day and age, I've got some really good deer to hunt. It's nice. It's mind blowing actually to think about it. But it's a lot of work and effort has went into that.
Right.
A lot of miles spent.
What do you think? What was your biggest kind of learning, or maybe adaptation that you had to make that when you got there, you were like, okay, this is different. What was like the thing that helped you kind of get over the hurdle of the difference in topography and setup and how Ohio is just different from where you live?
So, well, I think this can probably, for the most part, be applied to anywhere. But in my mind, I try to think like a big buck. And I think to myself, if somebody's trying to kill me, where do I want to be? Do I want to have a bird's eye view, or do I want to be below that item person trying to kill me? Right. So in my mind, I've always had this ideal, and it may be wrong, but so far it's been pretty good, is deer typically always want to bed on some type of an elevation, some type of a hump, some type of just where they have a bird's eye view. And it doesn't matter if we're talking 20-foot hump, they just want to be able to see. And I get it, because I would want to see too if somebody's trying to kill me.
Well, it's the same reason we hunt out of elevated setups.
Exactly. So it makes complete sense to me. So I cut my teeth in the North Florida river swamps. I'm talking like literally go deer hunting and see an alligator, like for real. That's happened before. I've stumbled across a nest of baby gators before and pissed the mama off. And when she come out of the bank, she literally ripped the whole bank up, and I about shit my pants. But so for me, I've always been a bottom hunter. South Carolina is really similar. It's the low country's all swamp. You get into the upstate, you got a little hills, but I don't get to hunt that. So for me, I had to completely reverse my mindset. It's like, Yeah, granted, deer can be killed on the bottom, but I have all of my luck high near bedding.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of my MO. I'm going to get high. I'm going to get near thick bedding, and I'm going to try to hunt close to the thick bedding. So for me, I had to completely flip my mindset. It's like, get your ass out of these bottoms.
Mm.
I don't even hunt bottoms at this point. Like, I'll hunt the bottom third of a ridge maybe to catch them in the morning when they're, transition to and from. But outside of that, like, I can't stand to hunt a bottom anymore. I want to get high. I want to see what's happening. So that's something small yet big that's really helped me.
Yeah,
in the
that's
hill
huge,
country.
man. I mean, I think a lot of times people, when they go to hill country, they'll see these bottoms, and that's always where it's always tore up with sign.
Yep.
There's always a ton of sign in those, right? And people always want to kind of gravitate toward that because yes, the deer are there, but typically that sign that's laid down in those bottoms is made at night, right? And if the deer is coming through there during the day at any time, it's usually you're going to get screwed because the reason why they're making that sign there is because they feel safe there because they have a thermal advantage of some sort usually.
All that scent's going to pull down to them.
Yeah. And so it's because I was kind of guilty of the same thing. Like I grew up, in Western PA and hunting hills and stuff like that. But whenever I was growing up hunting hills, it's like I didn't have the understanding of thermals. That was like if I paid attention just to the prevailing wind at that age, I was doing really well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so when I first kind of went to Ohio and was hunting, similar areas to where you're hunting currently, I remember I kind of got enamored at first by the sign that was on the bottom. And I was like, man. And then I kind of quickly was like, I forget who it was I was talking to. It might've been a Dan Enfalt thing that I had just recently like listened to or something like that. And I was like, I should get to the top and see what's doing up at the top of this ridge, or like, 3/4 of the way up, and went up. And sure enough, man, there was a little bit of sign, and I just happened to set up there for like the first hunt and saw, I don't even remember how many bucks I saw that day, but it was more than I had anticipated seeing, and got on deer right away. And then it was like the third day, I think I ended up killing. At that point, it was the best deer I'd ever killed.
Yeah.
Right. And to your point, it was kind of like a little bit of a revelation where it was like, yep, don't even bother with the bottoms anymore. It's like, I'm just going to go. And I understand, like, for someone who's newer, why it's challenging, because the sign isn't nearly as prevalent up there. And so it's harder to put the puzzle pieces together up there.
Sure.
Right. You have to kind of do what you're saying, which is, okay, the sign's in the bottom, so they're spending time here. So they're getting here. They're getting here from where, though? Where's that?
Which spoke, yeah.
Right. Where's that? Right. And then what you were saying earlier, if someone is trying to kill me, what's the best hiding spot?
Sure.
Right. And then reverse engineer it. And a lot of times you'll find, this is one thing I picked up from my buddy Greg Litzinger, and it's helped me out a ton, is just paying attention to like the really, really small details, especially when you get in those areas where there's sign that suggests that there are deer here, but I know they're not going to be here in daylight. So I got to figure out where they're going to be, where they're killable.
Yeah.
And then looking for the smallest of things, like, so antler tick marks going through thick areas, right? So saplings or whatever, where it's like, if a deer is walking through here and I can tell that a deer walks through here, are they hitting, whatever's off to the left and right of how they'd be walking through, what their antlers might be hitting, and are they making marks as they're walking through?
Sure.
Like little things like that you can start to, where it's not super obvious. It's more painstaking. You have to kind of be more dialed in, but they'll leave you little signs if you pay attention, right?
I think that's something I can improve in, actually, because I mean, I've thought about that. I think Cole, my buddy Cole, is actually pretty good about that. He's very, very good on finding the small details, like a whip rub or something, and then seeing little tickle marks here. But I know, back to the Ohio and hill country stuff. One other thing that I've learned, and I think this can kind of go for anywhere, not just hill country, but it's to kill the kind of caliber deer that I think we're all chasing. Get away from the numbers. Get away from the deer numbers. I've kind of learned. I think about it. I try to relate everything to real life scenarios, and I think about the old man that lives across from me. He's an old miserable bastard. And he doesn't really want to associate with a lot of people, and he's kind of a hermit, stays inside. Well, that's what a 5, 6, 7-year-old buck is too. He's the same person. He doesn't want to associate with the other people. He's going to find, when the rut comes in, he knows which does are coming in first. He doesn't have to guess. He's not that 2-year-old. He's not that 3-year-old. He knows, Betty Sue up on the hill, she's coming in, October 27th. I'm gonna go up here and corral her back to my area and bring her back in. He knows all these things. So therefore it's like, he just doesn't want to be around all of the other adolescent deer and the doe groups and this and that. He's a hermit for a reason. And so last year on my hunt in Ohio, I'm kind of contradicting myself here, but I started hunting the bottom third of the ridge. Had a bunch of deer sign, a bunch of deer traffic. In my mind, thermals are hanging low in the morning, so bucks are going to come cruising through, scent checking, which did happen, just not the right caliber of deer. So I sat there, and I had a lot of doe traffic coming through. I'm like, I know a buck's going to be following eventually. Well, the first evening I take my butt up the hill. I've only taken myself up this hill to actually hunt twice ever on this 73 acre lease that I have, all to myself. Both times I've been up there, I've seen mature bucks both times. And literally the first walk up there, took my stand on my back, walked up the hill, hang my set, kill them first evening. And it's just like the light bulb goes off, and it's just like, get away from the deer numbers, like it's fun to see 15 deer in a set, but I'd rather see the right 1 or 2 deer and kill them,
Yeah.
So that's something I've had to try my best to get away from, is just get away from them damn deer.
Yeah. It's hard because, especially if you're on a trip where you're going to hunt 7 days or whatever, and you go into day 2 or 3 and you're like, man, I ain't seen any deer yet. You just want to see some deer,
Sure.
and your gut is telling, not your gut, but your heart is telling you, just go sit where there's going to be deer.
Yeah.
Right. Make it easy, but your brain's telling you, no, the one I want to see isn't going to be there.
Yeah.
And it's hard to put your finger on, it's, if it was easy, everyone would be able to do it, but it's not, right? It's like, it's a little bit art, a little bit science, I feel like, to a degree.
And a little bit of good luck.
Oh, there's so much good luck involved with it. It's like, I always say, like, if I kill a good buck, it's like 75% luck and 25% what I did.
Yeah. Calculated guesses. Yeah.
That's all I'm doing.
Yeah.
I have a little experience, and I know a few things, and that hold true in certain scenarios, and I try to use those. And otherwise, then it's just luck if the deer's going to come by, or if a good deer's going to come by or not.
I completely agree. I think one of the biggest things is, it sounds really cheesy, but like, you just got to put yourself in areas where there are deer you want to harvest. And it sounds so simple, yet it's so hard, because, there's always this little pocket of genetics here and pocket of genetics there. And that's what me and Cole have worked really hard at. I'm going to say more so than anything, and which is why we've actually even changed into Kentucky, getting out of the western part of the state and moving to the northern part of the state. We just could not find the genetics we were after. And that's one of the biggest, it sounds so simple, but it's really not. It's just finding that in pockets of genetics that are going to hold the kind of deer you want to hunt. And that's what I've done in Ohio. And I think we're kind of onto something here in Kentucky now. So we'll see how the future shakes out. But so far, so good.
Right. Yeah. So let's talk about that hunt that you had in Kentucky this year, man, because you killed a hell of a deer.
Yeah, he was a good deer, man. It was actually crazy how it all really shook out. So we did not make this swap to northern Kentucky officially, until, I'm going to say, the 3rd week of July. I went up in February, got mineral out. I'm sure we went back in probably March or April. We went to western Kentucky numerous times. Wrote a letter to a guy. Ended up getting permission to hunt his farm right on a really good river system. The whole damn farm is like CRP. It's just amazing looking. Wasn't very conducive for early season hunting. Did get a picture of one really good deer, big shooter. But outside of that, it was just one deer. And we had worked out an agreement with him he would let us run some cameras. And if we found a deer we wanted to hunt, we would, talk some limited access, pay like a trespass fee almost in a way. Nothing significant at all. Great old guy. I actually ended up building a really good relationship with him. Could call him up right now and shoot the shit with him. So he's a good person. So get back to the 3rd week of July, and finally we're like, okay, we're going to northern Kentucky. Finally got Cole talking to it. He's on board. It's like, all right, let's go. So we got a mutual friend in northern Kentucky, and he's like, you boys come up here. He's like, I'm gonna try to help you out as much as I can. He ended up helping us with free lodging, and he actually gave me a permission form that he used to have permission on back in the day. We can go talk to the landowner, introduce ourselves, so on and so forth. He said, yep, that's fine. So got a farm locked in. Cool. So prior to that, I already had an 83 acre spot up there that was permission from a letter that I wrote. And then I also had another 16 acres that was also from a letter that I wrote. So I go up, I meet both of these people, and I make it exclusive. Like, hey, you've got permission to be here. It's fine. I actually ended up giving the lady with the 16 acres a little bit of money to make it exclusive where I'm the only person allowed to go there. So I go up with the intentions of hunting one of them 3 places. And I go up, get some stands set up, been running cameras, running some minerals, so on and so forth. And I was going up to hunt. I had one deer. I thought he was going to be good, but then he shed velvet. I'm just like, oh man, and then I'm like, he's a 3.5-year-old. I can tell. It's just like, he would just be a mega giant next year if he makes it. So I called it. I'm like, I'm not doing it. So there's this 8-point, man. And I don't even want to put a score on it, but he's a mature deer. I'm going to say he's probably a 5-year-old deer. He's a big body deer, just a basic 8-point. He's tall, he's heavy, he's tight, tall and tight, just like I like him. Good mass, all the characteristics of a mature deer. That's the deer I locked in on him. I'm going to kill him. He's not going to be my best scoring deer, but I don't care. I need to punch this tag, and I need to get to Ohio where I got real giants. Well, I get my stands pre-hung, and this is like Thursday. Yeah, Thursday. The opening day is Saturday evening. So Cole gets his stuff done on a permission piece he picked up. I get my stuff taken care of, and we're going to meet at Culver's. We're getting a late lunch. So I pull up in there, and I'm sitting there, and I'm waiting. I'm looking at my watch, looking at my phone. I'm just like, where's this dude at? Calling, hey, dude, where you at? Oh, man, I'm still 30 minutes out. I'm like, what the hell? So our mindset is to always be productive. We are out of state. We have to be doing something productive. It doesn't matter if we're shooting our bows, if we're knocking on doors, if we're e-scouting. It doesn't matter. We have to be productive. And this is just the mindset we have. Well, I've got 30 minutes to burn, and I'm at Culver's, and I'm on hunt stand, and I'm just looking, and I'm like, we're going to knock on a door. So I go knock on this door, and it's only like a 22-acre piece, and wound up being a dead end. Beautiful place, but a dead end. So as I'm pulling back out of the property, this woman pulls in front of me in a nice, kind of a uppity SUV, and she kind of does this, and I'm like, hey, hold on. I'm like, okay, maybe we're onto something here. So I pull up, and we get to talking, and she thought I was the owner of the property. I'm like, no, I thought you were the owner of the property. She's like, oh, well, I want to buy this property. And I'm like, well, I can't help you there. And so anyway, we got to talking. She wound up being a super nice lady. She was a proprietor right there. And told her what I was there for, who I was, what I'm about, where I'm from. And she pointed me right down the road. She said, hey, there's a fella right down the road he's got a farm. It's got soybeans on it. Maybe go knock on his door and try him. He's a ex FBI agent. He's real quirky, but you might be able to get somewhere with him. So I'm like, all right, cool. So by that time, Cole's at Culver's waiting on me. We go there, we eat lunch, we do our thing, and we find it on a hunt stand. We're like, dang, there it is. It's literally 2 miles down the road. So we shoot down there and pull up, knock on his door. Him and the wife come to the door, and within 45 seconds, we got permission. And we're just like, holy crap. Well, Cole was already locked on he was actually locked on the deer that he killed. So we go and we get set up, man. And that night, we put corn out and put some buck bourbon out just to try to figure out, because we know nothing about this place.
Right.
And I mean, you can legally feed in Kentucky and whatnot. So we're just trying to figure out what the hell's around, and put the camera out. I want to say Thursday, let's just say 2 p.m. And by the next morning at 5 a.m., got a shooter and camera. Like, whoa, okay, that's pretty cool. Might have something here. And this deer's bigger than what I was going to hunt by a good bit. And then fast forward, we do a little bit more door knocking, because we're not hunting mornings. We're only hunting evenings. And so do our door knocking that day, do a couple odds and ends, and the deer shows up again Friday afternoon, 4 p.m. I'm just like mind blown. Cole is losing his mind. He's beating my dash in my truck. He's so excited and jacked up. Like I thought, I didn't even know what happened. I thought he hit the lottery almost. And this is the deer that I'm going to hunt and going to pursue. So he's like that jacked up about it. And I'm like, dude, calm down. Like you're gonna make my airbag blow out of my truck. Stop, calm down. So we slip in about 11 a.m. About 11 a.m. Saturday morning. Go in and I pre-hang my wolf stand, and the deer repeated the exact same thing. Came out at like 4:15 p.m. and literally shot him. And he ran maybe 50 yards and fell over dead. Like it was like, there's really no story to it. Like it literally happened so quick from a knock. We knocked on the door Thursday at 2 p.m. to putting an arrow in him at Saturday opening evening at 4 p.m. It's just like the way it all transpired, dude, was just so quick and so effective and efficient, or however you want to call it. And just, it was a blessing is what it was.
Nice, man. That's awesome, dude. How much, um, what do you think your percentage of success is in terms of door knocking? Like how many doors out of 10, if you knock on 10 doors, how many yeses do you get usually?
Okay. So for Kentucky,
Hmm.
um, so we're never looking for exclusive access in Kentucky. Our
Right.
goal is to kill in 7 days in Kentucky. We want the
Yep.
first 7 days of the season. We want to catch deer in early season patterns, and we want to hunt them on bean fields, cornfields, really wherever they are, but preferably some ag source because, as you know, there's on a bed to feed pattern. It's all they care about that time of the year. So the spiel we gave him is we were going to be there probably a Saturday through a Monday.
Hmm.
He was completely fine with it. It depends on how you word it. If you're looking, Kentucky is a big rifle state. So
Hmm.
a lot of times the ground's already hunted. And there was a guy who hunted the ground. We actually ended up talking with him. He wasn't exactly thrilled that we were there, but
Right.
I think it depends on how you word things. I think if you're looking for exclusive access, they're going to sit back and be like, kind of cringe at that. But we're
Mhm.
looking for a week. And I think if you can word it correctly, you can get permission on quite a few of them.
Hmm.
Um, Cole's actually really good at knocking on doors. I think Cole's probably a little better than me when it comes to knocking on doors. I would say out of 10 in a day to get exclusive access, it's not high. It's really not high. I'm going to say maybe
Hmm.
3 out of 10, maybe.
Right. If you're asking for just like, hey, just give me a week and I don't care if other people hunt it, like, what do you think your odds are then?
Even still, then probably a lot
Still
of
probably like
times,
three.
what we run into is a lot of lands leased.
Mm.
And the people, they love us. I mean, I can only think of maybe 1 or 2 times ever in the existence of knocking, sending letters, so on and so forth, that we've ever ran across truly just nasty people. Most people, they actually really love us. They
Mm.
invite us in. Like we got invited in. The farmer and his wife are having dinner one night. They invite us in. And we're just like, oh no, we don't want to intrude. We apologize. Oh no, come in.
No, sit down, get you a plate.
And he told us, he's like, no, the place is leased, but you boys come in and talk to me. And we just have ran across so many good people, and,
Hmm.
it's alarming. It's actually kind of alarming to think about, the amount of people that think that it's not doable. It really is doable. You just
Hmm.
got to go put on your best face, and dress appropriately and just be a good human. I think people pick up on good vibes sometimes and they can tell within that first 30-second spiel kind of person you are,
Hmm.
It's doable. Like me and Cole do it every year. We do it every single year. Ohio,
Now,
Kentucky, it's doable. It's completely doable.
are you wearing like your hunting clothes or do you wear like
No,
regular clothes?
I'm wearing a pair of boots. Look kind of like a working man.
Right.
I'm not going up there in a suit and tie, but I'm not going up in a bathing suit. I'm kind of just what
Right.
I wear every day around the house. I might have a pair of, you know, Carhartt pants on and maybe a Blackgate t-shirt.
Hmm.
Just typical attire. I never will go up in any kind of a camouflage. Actually, I don't
Right.
even. I've got sometimes I'll carry a four-wheeler every now and again in the back of. I've got a big dually truck, and I'll carry it in the back of there. And actually, there's been times to where I'll cringe knowing that I'm pulling up with a four-wheeler in the back of my truck because if they got crop ground, they're gonna be like, oh, this butthead's gonna drive over my crop grounds. There's been times we'll have a trailer behind us. We'll take the trailer to wherever we're staying or to a buddy's house or something, we'll drop it off because we don't want to pull up. We don't want to look like hunters. We don't want to give the impression that,
Right.
that we're hunters because then they're going to have like a predetermined, mindset
Yeah.
of like,
Before they even open
before
the
they even
door,
talk
they're
to
going to be
you
like, yeah,
and give you a
yeah,
chance for the spiel. So, just try to look as normal as possible, and just typical
right.
stuff, man. Look people in the eye, shake their hand, good firm handshake like you're a man and
Yep.
just be, just good people.
Yeah. Otherwise, I mean, because like if you're just rolling up in your vehicle, jump out with regular clothes, I mean, they could be like, hey, these nice boys here are some Jehovah's Witnesses. We should talk to them.
Sure.
No, just kidding.
And I mean, there's been
Right.
times too. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say I don't brown nose either.
Right.
People love peaches.
Yeah.
They love shrimp. I mean, the kind of stuff we can get here at home, fresh
Mhm.
peaches and fresh coastal shrimp. I mean, we there's been many a basket of peaches that I've handed out and I still didn't get permission,
Right.
but guess what? They remember Justin Tabor from South Carolina who brought him peaches and I'm going to talk to
Right.
him next year too.
Right.
So
Yeah.
you're building a face, you're building a relationship, and that's really what it's truly about, man. It's about building a relationship with people.
Yeah.
I have met the best, Clint. I've met the best people of my 34 years of life doing what we're doing right now in the hunting community. Just meeting people, just good, wholesome, genuine, salt of the earth people. It's mind blowing. My best friends have been made doing this right here. It's insane.
100%, man. Like we were staying in Kansas. It was the first year Chad and I were out there, and we ended up kind of parking our trailer in a spot, or my little travel trailer in a spot. And the fella who owned it, his grandson came by, and Chad had killed a good buck, and we had him out. We were taking pictures, and he stopped by and said, hey, where'd you kill that deer at? And we were, we killed him over here at this area, blah, 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 blah. And we're talking, and and Chad knew his grandfather because he had talked to his grandfather about some access on a piece that we didn't have access to, but he told us we could park there and stay there.
Sure.
Right. And because the first thing we said when he pulled up, we were like, hey, we talked to, so-and-so, and he said it was cool that we park and camp here, He's like, oh yeah. He's like, I'm his grandson. He's like, yeah, that's fine. That's fine. He's like, I just wanted to see what was going on with this deer. He's like, it's a great deer. Like he wanted to hear, he's like, hey, how'd you kill him? Like, oh, you were on the ground. Okay. Yeah. Oh, you over in that piece? Okay. Yeah. I know where that's at. Like the nicest guy, right? Gave us his number before he left. He's like, hey, if you boys need anything, if you need help with something, just don't hesitate. Give me a call. Our farm's up here. You can come knock on the door. I live at the main farm. Just nicest person, right? And he didn't know us from Adam.
Yeah.
Just kind of stopped by, talking to locals as we're driving out a couple different nights. Locals see us walking up the road, whether it was in the morning, afternoon, when we're coming out of a piece or whatever. I remember one guy specifically pulls up, and he's like, he just pulls up real slow, and he's got his window down. He's like, hey, you boys from out of state? And we're like, yeah, we're here, trying to chase some deer. He's like, yeah, you having any luck? We're like, we've seen a couple good ones so far over here and over here. And he's like, yeah. He's like, well, if you go about a mile down this way here, he's like, they shot a 200-inch down there last year. They shot a 180 something over here. Oh, wow. He's like, and we're like, you been out yet? He's like, oh, no. He's like, I don't go out till the crops come off and use my gun. He's like, I don't do any, I don't hunt until that time. We're like, okay. And he sat on the road and had like a 30-minute conversation with us to tell us like, hey, if you ain't having any luck there, and go over this spot, and this guy over here has this farm, you should go talk to him. Like super open with information, right? And I think people a lot of times give people a bad rap that people aren't as open, or they're mean, or you definitely run into that sometimes, but I've run into more nice people than I haven't. I'm
going to say like 98 to 1. Like I've just ran across so many good people. Like the guy, I wrote a letter 2023, that's early in the year, maybe 2022. I can't remember, one of the 2 years, but long story short, I hunt a guy. I'm not even gonna say a guy. I hunt extremely good person's property. Now he's almost like a dad to me at this point. Like we have created and even outside of hunting, just like a good, genuine person, like the kind of people I want to be around. I literally go and stay at his house. I'd stay in his basement. I have the whole basement to myself at this point. And it just treats me like a son almost, And it's just insane the amount of good people you really will stumble across. And I think, typically most people are shy. People they don't want to get rejected. It's just like going, back when you're a bachelor, going to talk to the hot chick in the bar. It's like, shoot your shot, man.
Yeah.
Go into it with the mindset like they're probably going to say no, but give them your best face. Maybe leave a phone number with them, shake their hand, just be good to them. And most of the time, like, I can't ever say we've really ever had many people at all. If we've knocked on 1,000 doors, I bet you there's 5 that were just truly just nasty to us. Outside of that, that's pretty high odds too.
Yeah.
Most of the time they want to be helpful. They want to point you in the direction of the guy with the 70-acre bean farm down there where you can go kill a 160, like I did. So we just meet so many good people doing this, man. It's mind blowing. So knock on that door.
Yeah, I think you reap what you sow. If you're good to people and you treat people right, like they're likely going to do the same to you. Because I had the same experience even whenever I was in Iowa. This guy and I were hunting the same public piece. We met in the parking lot, and I've told this story on here before. But my buddy Corey, and when we came out, he was like, "Hey, where are you?" He's like, "I've seen you in here like every day. Your truck's been here. That I've been here." He's like, "But I don't. Where are you hunting?" He's like, "I don't want to mess you up." I said, "Oh, I'm way back here, about a mile and a half." And he's like, "Oh yeah." He's like, "You're way." He's like, "I'm only about quarter mile in here or whatever." And he's like, "I'm hunting over here. There's a big deer. He's like 180 inches. That's the one I'm trying to kill." He's like, "So we're not messing each other up at all." And I said, "Yeah." He's like, "You from out of state?" And I was like, yeah, he's like, yeah, he's like, he didn't look at my plate yet on my truck. And I was like, yeah, I'm from PA. And we started talking. And I said, I came out and scouted in the winter, did some shed hunting and stuff like that. And he's like, yeah, he's like, there's some real good spots in this area over here. He's like, I've had a couple buddies kill some good deer over here. He's like, and I've seen some good deer on camera over here. Now, the thing was like, he grew up in that area, hunted that huge piece of public all of his life, knew every nook and cranny of it,
Yeah.
and was just freely giving me information. Ultimately, where I ended up shooting the deer I shot was over in the general area where I had scouted it before, but I really wasn't thinking about it until he mentioned it, and I was like, oh yeah, I should go back over there. Well, that's where I ended up killing the deer I killed, right? He and I still talk to this day. His family has a farm not far from that public piece that his dad hunts. And they have like a cabin there. And he was like, man, next time you come back, he was like, why don't you stay there? He's like, I was like, I don't want to impose. He's like, well, he's like, if nothing else, he's like, just bring your trailer and park your trailer there. He's like, and you can hook up to like the electric or whatever. So he's like, and you can use a shower or whatever. So you have a few more amenities.
Isn't it insane just what a conversation you strike up? It's amazing. I had a similar situation with a guy after I did a podcast, I don't know, a few months ago or something. And I actually had two conversations, but the one I'm speaking of right now was a guy that just wrote me, and he was from, I want to say, the South as well. And we got to talking about LBL, Land Between the Lakes in Kentucky. And I'd hunted there before and had pins, saved on my phone. And yeah, I'm going up there to hunt, man, this and that. And I'm like, well, dude, look, go down here and check out this area, check out this bottom. And I seen an absolute giant in the flesh right here, and just about sharing and just helping your brother out, man. We're all out there after the same thing here.
Yep.
And it's insane, man. There's so many good people in this community. So
yeah, for sure. So what's on your plans for this season, rest of the year? So you've got checked the box on Kentucky. You're good to go there. What's next?
I'm gonna put all my efforts into Ohio. I got a deer that I need to wrap my hands around. If I do that, it'll be one for the ages. It'll be just incredible. And then I got Illinois. I got a really good buddy, Marty Cates in Illinois. We go up there and hunt on some permission ground with him as well. And it's river bottoms, farm country. That's a little different too, man. I'm not gonna lie, because like last year I killed in Ohio out of the hill country, and then I went to Illinois sight unseen. I'd never seen this ground before, and it's the flattest land I've ever seen. I mean, you could stand on a beer can and watch your dog run away for 3 days. I'm just like mind blown. Like, I don't even need binoculars. I can see everything. It was crazy. I grew up in Florida, and I'm like, this is insane. So it's great property though. There's big deer, and I kind of look at Illinois kind of like my bonus state. But Marty takes really good care of us, me and Cole both, and we always look forward to getting up with him. So hopefully fill a tag in Ohio, and then I guess the same thing as last year, man. Kentucky, Ohio, Illinois.
Nice, man.
And then maybe put in some effort here at home for once, and maybe try to get one here. But I usually lose interest when I come home. And also, it's like you come back home, man, and you've been gone for 7-10 days, and then it's like the wife's happy to see you, the kids are happy to see you. So the last thing you say is, "Hey, Saturday evening, I'm going out to deer hunt." Well, you've been home for 24 hours, and it's like, yeah, I know. Yeah. So I stay home, watch football. Maybe try to get a lift in, eat some good food and just chill, man. So that's the itinerary for the year.
Nice, man. Sounds like a great plan. I got to get to Illinois at some point. Every year when I drive through it, well, usually every year when I drive through it, I'm always kind of looking. I'm like, that and Indiana are two places that I need to get to that I've yet to check off my list. But this year's, I'll be in the plains, and then next year I'll be back to Iowa, and then then after that, maybe I'll start to kind of see what else is out there.
Well, that's what I need to do. I need to do the opposite of you. I need to get further west than Missouri, because that's the furthest I've ever been west outside of work, and I need to get further west. We started applying for Iowa, getting our preference points. Kansas is on the bucket list, so I want to get out to where I can see a little more, out in the plain states like you're talking. And but man, it's so hard to just leave the Kentucky early season alone. Ohio truly has my heart, and then like I say, Illinois is just a bonus state, so come really close last year to actually filling that Illinois tag. Hunted this one deer. He was a really good deer. Nothing crazy, but a really good deer. I've been happy as a, pig and shit to wrap my tag around him. And he just, I hunted him. I seen him in the flesh 2 times, made like a 40 or 50 yard move, hung my set again, just trying to make micro moves to get closer to him where he was transitioning from bedding to, cut corn behind me. and make my move. And then when I make my move, the bastard walks downwind of me on the original trail, right down the pipe behind me. Would have been a perfect 15-yard broadside shot, man. And I let my bow down, and he got downwind of me, and it's crazy. He didn't blow, didn't stomp, he didn't do anything. He just immediately took off out of there like a quarter horse, just completely gone. It was the craziest thing I've ever seen. Usually they'll freeze up, not him.
Yeah.
He was gone.
He's I'm out.
Yeah, and he was a cool deer, man. His horns actually wrapped all the way around, a little almost touched, and just big 8-point, and
Nice.
I was after him hard, but he beat me, so we only filled 2 of the 3.
Nice. So, well, let's. I'm pulling for 3 for 3 this year, and
it's gonna happen one year.
yeah, exactly. But man, I got to get going. I got. Speaking of the gym and working out, I got to go take my. I got to go take my medicine, my punishment.
That's
for
right.
And so keep building that discipline. But before I let you go, let people know where they can find out more about you and follow along with what you have going on this season.
Yeah, so I'm on Facebook as Justin Tabor, and then on Instagram I'm the self-proclaimed Fit Bow Hunter 90, or you can just look up Justin Tabor on Instagram, and I'm typically on Instagram more than I am Facebook, but that's the only 2 platforms I'm really on. So
awesome, man. Well, I appreciate you coming on, buddy. Good luck this season, and let's stay in touch. Maybe one of these years we'll get a hunt in.
Cool, man. Sounds great. Good luck to you this fall.
All right, folks, that is a wrap for today's show. I'd like to thank all of you for listening. And if you haven't yet, please head over to iTunes and leave us a 5-star rating. And be sure to subscribe to the podcast. And hell, while you're at it, head over to YouTube and give us a sub there too. I'd be super appreciative if you do those couple things for me. And before I shut this thing down, I need to give a big shout out to our partners who continue to help us make this podcast possible. Tacticam, Osseo Gear, Hawk Optics, Face Off E-Bikes, and Lathrop & Sons Boot Company. And until next time, we'll see y'all.